Now, guitar players in bluegrass, we're looking to be as efficient as possible. We don't want to move a whole lot for our chord shapes. And when we play fast bluegrass, that allows us some fudge room to be able to play toward a chord without playing that whole chord. Okay, so it may go to a C, it may go to a D or an F, and we don't have to go to that full chord shape. And that's one thing that can trick you, not being a guitar player, or even if you're just watching another guitar player, you're like, well, what chord was that? It was just kind of barely moved his hand, but it went to a different chord. Let me explain all that. Now, first of all, in the key of G, we know that there are a few chords that we're going to go to most of the time in bluegrass songs. That's going to be your 4 and 5 chords, which is C and D. It's going to be also your F chords, pretty common. And then your 2 minor chords, your E minor and your A minor. Sometimes you'll go to a 2 chord, which is an A chord or an A7. Okay, so it's important to know as a musician that when we're in the key of G, that those several chords, 4, 5, maybe the 7, the 2 minor, the 6 minor, those are the main ones that we're going to be going to, and you can recognize those pretty easy. I think what's more important for you to know is the different ways that they can look here on the guitar neck, particularly the 1, 4, and 5, and the 6 minor, which are the most common chords, and therefore we find ways to shortcut those as guitar players. Now, look back at this bluegrass G chord shape that I want to call there. The truth is that I can get several other chords without ever moving my ring or pinky finger. And that's what's confusing for people that are watching, because they don't see much of a movement, but it's a different chord. So what I can do as a guitar player is I can take these bass fingers, the ones that are covering those low notes, and move those down one string, just one string, both of them, and it turns it into a C chord. It's a C9 chord, okay, so it's a variation, but when the rest of the band's playing a big C chord, this sounds pretty good. I don't have to go to a full C chord, okay? And especially when you're going fast, people are going to jump there. Okay? So the thing to look at when you're trying to figure out what chord a guitar player's playing is not necessarily those ring and pinky, because that doesn't move, but is the bass fingers, are they playing on the lowest string, or are they playing one higher? And if they're playing one higher, that's a C chord probably. Now, if you do that again, if you keep going down one more set of strings, that gives us a variation of the F chord. Pretty cool, huh? So that's like an F9 something, F9, 15, I don't know. But that's a variation of the F chord. And that's pretty easy to go to whenever we're playing fast again. Because what your ear picks up on is just that F note and the A note, and those other notes don't make as big a difference. Okay, so you can see a G chord, a C chord, and an F chord barely move at all from a guitar player's perspective, and the only thing that determines what chord I'm playing are those bass strings. Now, if I were to go back to that F shape and just pick up my middle finger so that I have an open D string, that's going to be the D shape that's very often used. Of course, our big D chord's here, but often I'll leave that pinky down, and that's my D chord. It's like a D sus, and it works great, especially when we have those quick D chord turnarounds. Okay, so again, G, C, F, D, G, C, F, D. So if we were to play something like Salt Creek that has all of those chords, and it works just fine, especially when you have a bass in there playing all the notes, and a mandolin chop and banjo rolling. I don't have to make those big, I don't have to go dun, 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 dun. And the faster we go, the more, like I say, the more reason we find to play those abbreviated chord shapes. So that's just important for you to know. If you're in a jam, you're watching a guitar player, an experienced guitar player, and they're just kind of flying through these positions. What are they doing? G, C, F, and D. Okay? Now, when it comes to our minor chords in our key of G shape, our most common one is going to be the E minor. Now, technically,